Lovelies, you are welcome back to this channel. If you are new here, you are welcome. And in today's video, I came across a video on my page for you page on TikTok where a lot of people are reacting to the comment made by CRT by saying what was wrong with the black president. A lot of people are reacting and asking questions, and I was able to put up some of those reactions. I'm just gonna roll the play as some of those reactions I was able to put together. Please leave your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think on this video. Alright lovelies, let's dive into it.
Country have a psychological tick where they don't want to share things with black people. It's drained pool politics where, say there's a municipal pool and that pool was desegregated, the white people would rather fill the pool with concrete than share it with black people. That's what's happened to our government. That the symbolic nature of a black man, it begins with them deifying their presidents. Look at how they look at Trump, look at how they look at Reagan, look at how our national mythology kind of elevates the presidency into near mythological status. Then consider the racial hierarchy, white people on top looking down. Now consider 8 years of these broken racists having to look up at a black president, and they're doing drain pool politics with the United States government. They would rather break the government that yielded a black president than share it. That's literally what's happening right now. So there was nothing wrong with a black president in a vacuum, but in this broken and racist culture, the black president literally melted down both the conscious and subconscious elements of racism in this country that drive whiteness. And it came at a time where our politics and our political system still favors whiteness. And the political backlash to the cultural leap forward of the black president may end up engulfing this country. The jury is still out on that one. So I never said anything was wrong with a black president, but like I was just watching a show called, I think, Stamped from Birth, Ibrahim Kindi's something adapted into a Netflix thing, and there was a quote in it that black progress will always be punished. And so there was this entitlement to kind of desegregating the White House that I think was a little naive in its belief in where this country was culturally on the issue of race. And that we thought it was one where, because like the civil rights era and the 90s and all this largely drove a lot of the racism down into the subconscious of the culture, but it was still bubbling down there, just waiting for somebody to rip it open. I look at like Obama as the reverse to Reagan, where Reagan's political advisor, Lee Atwater, gave the game away when he said, you can't say the N-word anymore. So you start talking about all of these economic issues, and they're really esoteric, but they hurt black people more than whites. And so what Reagan and his strategy did, the Reagan Revolution, the Southern strategy, was link subconscious racism to conscious expressions of like economics or something. And then you have that embedded in our culture. Remember, Reagan won 49 out of 50 states by doing this bullshit, announcing his campaign in 1980 in Philadelphia, Mississippi, where some civil rights workers were killed. And so that laid dormant, and it was awakened by Obama. Because what happened to Obama? What was the first kind of like backlash? The Tea Party. What was that? Economics. Did anybody believe that had anything to do with economics? All of those racist ass effigies? Of course it didn't. They only care about economics when it's a smokescreen and a dog whistle, and it's embedded in their subconscious for them to hear economics and feel racism. And so it just destabilized the culture. It's like when we desegregated schools and the National Guard had to escort the kids in, right? I mean, they asked JFK to walk with one of the children and he refused. But I mean, the idea we were going to elect a black president, put him into the highest office in the land, and it was just going to be accepted by this racist-ass culture at large was always a pipe dream. And so again, nothing wrong with the black president, everything wrong with this racist-ass culture.
When people ask me why I was such a diehard Trump supporter, this was the reason why. Because of this comment right here, I felt like this. I felt like that in 2024, that white men were the only people who were legally discriminated against. In fact, I'll take it a step further. It was the white, straight, Christian, conservative male that would be discriminated against in 2024 in the United States of America. We had tolerance for everyone else but us. And truth be told, it wasn't until I realized how ignorant and uneducated I truly was that I began to think and feel and live differently. Growing up in a society and a system that by design centers and caters white, straight, Christian males Anytime you see any other type of inclusivity, any type of diversity, equity, and inclusion, it will begin to feel like oppression. And that's sad that this is the truth about the world that we live in today. And people say all the time that if we just stop talking about racism, that it will go away. People believe that because they don't experience interpersonal racism, that it doesn't exist on an institutional or a systemic level. But it's because of comments like this that we know it's alive and well. People will be like, well, we don't have a white entertainment channel, or we don't have historically white colleges. We don't have a white history month. We don't have white-owned businesses. When literally whiteness has been the standard in this country since the birth of the nation. I remember when I first started seeing interracial commercials, and I would get so mad. I'd be so triggered. And I'd say things to myself and to friends and family. I don't care what you do. I don't care about interracial dating, but why do they have to shove this down our throat? And the same thing with gay pride or trans talk. I would get so triggered. I don't care what you do, but why do you have to shove it down our throat? But could you imagine for 1 second being a member of one of these marginalized groups growing up in this country? What it must feel like to have whiteness or straightness or Christianity shoved down your throat every single second of the day. And then when you begin to question it or try to create a safe space for yourself, you're told to go live in another country if you don't like it. Or stop being the victim. Or don't blame the system, you need to take personal accountability. And this is the question I have for people who get upset about it, because I know a lot of people in my everyday life are still upset about it. Why are you so triggered? How hard is it to deconstruct and re-educate? And why are we so afraid to do so? Are we that insecure? Are we that fragile? Are we that mediocre that we cannot compete in a world that has a level playing field and equal opportunity for every single person? I mean, hell, if we really think about it, if we really want to get mad, we need to get mad at our ancestors. We had a 400-year head start, and many of us are still living in the trailer park. But for real though, why does inclusivity feel like oppression to us? Why do we get so triggered? Why do we think it's a zero-sum game? Why do we look at it as a piece of pie in which if somebody else gets a piece of the pie that we don't get our piece? And I have a very unpopular belief that I'm going to share with you, and I stand on it, and many people are going to be triggered by this. But in 2024, if you're white in America, you're racist. Unless you've actively chosen to do the work to become less racist. But by default, if you're born into this system with our institutions, the way that we are taught, programmed, and conditioned, through no fault of your own, you have been taught and programmed to be racist. And this is why education is so important. And don't take it personal. I'm not attacking your character unless you willfully refuse to learn. I'm attacking your education and your beliefs.
Guys, historical pan-color people in this country have the psychological tips towards black people. The same bill of the nature of a black man. Yeah, it became to magnify to the president. The pan-color people don't want to associate in politics with the black people, because black people would rather broke racist politics with the black president. Yeah, so that's what is happening now. Despite all the racial animals and political resistance against him, Obama has been criticized for being a respectability president who hasn't been aggressive or progressive enough on issues such as education, poverty, and immigration. And Ross said Obama handled such treatment with remarkable grace. Yeah, but says there are valid criticism on his policies such as stagnant wages and growth and a sluggish recurrent that's done little for those at the bottom that don't involve racism. Also on the expectation of grace, of dignity, of certain magnanimity that says, I know you wrong me, but will not stop as low as you have. Yeah, so that simply means that the expectation that black people in power won't react to blanket disrespect. So that is no win situation. When you are a black man in the White House, because you are either going to be too docile or too angry, and being human is something I do not think is something that has been afforded to him over the last 8 years. both because of his position and because of his race and because of his gender. Yeah. So meanwhile, Obama, I think he has been, yeah, he has made the most of the moment. Yeah, Obama has made the most of the moment. That's why white people don't want black people to overthrow them. So white people, they don't want black people. They hate us. They hate black people. They don't want us to overthrow them. They are too racist towards black people. They hate us with passion, and which is very bad. Okay guys, if you have watched up to this extent, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like, share, comment. See you when I upload my next one.